Hi, this is the Florida Tech Oral History Series, and we are here today with Dr. George Maul, a professor of oceanography here at Florida Tech. I am Beth Handel. Today is October 19th, 2018. Welcome, Dr. Maul.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Alrighty. Alright, let's start off by asking you how you arrived here at Florida Tech and ended up here.
I was working at the NOAA laboratory in Miami, and a colleague of mine who I've known for a long time, back when he worked for NASA, a fellow named Dean Norris, was professor here, and he invited me to come up to give a seminar. I didn't realize that the invitation was an interview, but afterwards it seemed like it was a proper time to stop being just a research scientist and back to being where my really heart was, as being a school teacher. And so I did come up after that, taking my wife kicking and screaming out of Miami, promised her a house on the beach, and so we did that, and I was happily settled in here and very glad to be here.
Great. Can you describe your first impressions of the university?
Oh golly, that was 1994. 150 West University Boulevard was the end of the gym, over where the gym is now, where the Clementi Center is now. But that's where the address comes from. That's where shipping and receiving was. It was right on University Boulevard, and it was a Quonset hut, basically. It's what it looked like. That's where the number came. So, you know, your first impression of the university is, wow, a Quonset hut. But Lynn Weaver was president at that time, and very soon thereafter, the Olin Foundation funding came through, and the university really got transformed in terms of the quality of the buildings and things. But it really didn't matter too much to me. I really wanted to have this change. I wanted to be in the classroom. I wanted to be teaching and working with students. And so, yeah, anything short of a Quonset hut would have been fine.
Okay, great. How long have you been with Florida Tech, and what factors have led you to
This is my
stay here?
25th year. So I'll celebrate a silver anniversary this coming summer. What was the other part of the question?
What factors have led you to stay here?
Oh, well, students, in a single word. Yeah, I mean, they're great kids, hardworking, intelligent, dedicated. It's such a difference from some other places when students are not here for an education, but to become famous athletes or something like that, which is okay. But that's not the kind of students that tickle my fancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, can you describe the changes in growth you've seen?
Changes in?
Growth you've seen.
Oh, well, yes, I think the Olin Foundation made a big difference. We have a whole number of new buildings, plus from what Harris Corporation has given us. So I think the infrastructure of the university is substantially better than it was when I came here. And we added programs that seemed very natural fits to existing programs, and that helped keep things going in the right direction, I think. Yeah.
You've written about some of these changes and how some departments have had to relocate on multiple occasions. Did you have a specific favorite location?
Oh, I love the Link building. I've been involved with the Link Foundation, and I didn't know Ed Link. But my first year here, his wife, Marion, passed away. And Celine Alvey and I, who was the librarian at the time, went down to the funeral services, and we met Marilyn Link, his sister. And that's how we became to know the Link Foundation through her. And then I was invited as part of the Link Foundation growth to create a pre-doctoral fellowship in ocean engineering and instrumentation. And I created that and administered it for a dozen years or so. And so that was a wonderful part of that relationship. So the Link building has a lot of warm fuzzies for me because of the time that I spent with Marilyn and working on the Link Foundation. I still see members of the Link Foundation at their annual visits. So it's really a nice continuum.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your time with the Ocean Engineering and Marine Sciences Department or its development?
Well, it's changed a lot on and off. But I think the new amalgamation of most all marine sciences in the university into one department is a good direction to be going. I have quietly advocated for such a thing over the years, and I can't take any credit for it happening. but I certainly think it's going to be a big improvement because walking across the aisle is going to be a lot easier to create joint programs that are much broader than it would be had it kept separate. So I think it's a nice and important direction to go for all of us. Yeah.
I imagine you've seen a lot of things during your time here. Are there stories that stand out for you? Could you share some of them?
Oh, I'm not sure I'm a good storyteller. I probably can't do any of that justice. I remember very much when we had our ship, the Delphinus, though, and I spent a lot of time taking students out on the ship. And there are some pictures of me sitting there on the deck of the Delphinus reading some strange book. I guess we were doing something that summer on something called Pfisteria. Pfisteria is a cell that has a cyst stage, which lives in the bottom, and when it gets stirred up, it can create havoc with the fisheries and with people. And so that summer, I remember reading about Pfisteria as we were collecting samples for Pfisteria and reading what has happened to people who got involved with Pfisteria in a way that was not safe. And there's one story in the book. The book was called "The Cell from Hell," and it was really just and there we were out there collecting these samples, not having any clue. And I'm reading the stories about it and saying, "My God, we're collecting these samples of the cell from hell." Turned out that 25% of our samples had Pfisteria in it. We sent all the samples up to a former student of ours in Charleston, South Carolina, who worked for NOAA, and nobody got sick from it. But, you know, after you started reading that stuff and saying, are we taking enough precautions? So I really didn't know. You know, I'm a physical oceanographer. What do I know about biology? So anyway, that was an interesting way to spend the summer. But we did make a good contribution to understanding that organism better and knowing that it's something we have to watch out for.
If you had to pick an unsung hero, who would that be? What was the person like and their contributions?
Here?
Yes. Or anybody really?
Well, I think I went to the dinner the Saturday night, the alumni awards dinner, and one of the things that they did is have the three living presidents, two former presidents and the current president on the stage at the same time. And I think having done that was a very wonderful thought, because we had so much benefit from the work of both Dr. Weaver and Dr. Katniss. Sometimes people tend to forget that they made major contributions to us and how we have become as a university. And I thought taking that time on that Saturday night dinner to honor them was a really very valuable thing to do. Yeah, it was really cool.
And was there anyone else that stood out to you during your time at Florida Tech?
Well, of course, Dean Norris, the fellow who recruited me, we ate lunch together for many, many years, sitting on the side of the Link building. Almost every day around noon, we would get our peanut butter sandwich, sit outside and watch the squirrels and chat and talk about things. And then when he retired and left to go live closer to one of his children in Georgia, we still keep up with each other, and it's wonderful to have long-term friendships like that.
Good. Can you describe your most memorable interactions with any faculty, staff, presidents, students?
Oh, I remember very clearly the moment that the undergraduate curriculum committee approved our petition to start the meteorology program. I was elated. I just thrilled. I just came back jumping up and down and having a good feeling about it. And the program has prospered, and I'm glad to see it to be where it is today. So that was a really great moment. I remember that very clearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your involvement with the Florida Academy of Sciences?
I've been a member of the Florida Academy of Sciences long before I came up here, and mostly because it has outreach to community and tries to foster science-based decision-making so people make the right decision based on good, solid information. Mm-hmm. And then somehow, I'm not sure that's how it came. Oh, I know. It came about in a peculiar way. I received I was a medalist in 2016, and I'm not sure how that came about. I suspect that there might have been some friends I don't know about who were behind the scenes tugging and pulling on that. But what happened was I was giving a deposition on sea level for the expansion of the Turkey Point Power Plant in South Florida. And out of that came a feeling that a lot of people didn't understand sea level and sea level change. So I decided to write an article for the Florida Scientist. And it became the featured article for that particular issue. And what the editor did is send out my article to several people who wrote other articles about it, and then I had another article to rebut it. So basically the whole issue of Florida Scientists at that time was all about Florida sea level. Right. Different opinions, different perspectives, and my chance to write. So I got 2 papers out of that. It was kind of good. Yeah, and I think that may have elevated somebody's willing to say that that I should deserve some extra recognition for that particular work. That was kind of nice.
Well done.
Yeah, it was pretty special. Pretty special.
Great. What motivated you to create the meteorology program for the university?
Well, it just seemed like such a natural fit. We have a good program here in physical oceanography, and when I was trained in physical oceanography, the first year or 2, all the meteorologists and oceanographers are all in the same room together. We're all taking the same courses, the same material. And I looked at where we were with the Patrick Air Force Base having the 45th Weather Squadron, and NOAA having the Weather Service here in town, and NASA at Kennedy Space Center having a very large group doing space launch weather. And it just seemed like such a natural fit for our community and for the courses we already had in place here. So all we had to add was about half a dozen courses, and we had a humdinger meteorology program.
Great.
So yeah, it was all, just had to put the pieces together.
Right.
Yeah.
And what accomplishments or contributions are you most proud of during your time at Florida Tech?
Gee, I don't know. I think probably watching students finish up their work, graduate, and go out and become really successful contributors. Yeah.
Very cool. Based on your experience, what advice would you give the university and the community going forward?
I think we need to continue the notion of educating not only students but our community in making decisions based on facts, not on feelings. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. Yeah. People, I mean, for example, thinking about sea level, a lot of people say, well, sea level is rising faster than ever did before. And the answer to that is not true. And so you have to stand up and say, that's not what the facts show. And some people don't like that because it doesn't fit their other agenda. And so that you know, sometimes it's, and there's derision associated with that sometimes. And so you just take the courage and say, okay, well, come do it.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your experience with Florida Tech, or anything else really?
Well, I just look forward to the time that I may have here yet. I'm not sure how much longer that's going to be. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, and that's okay. But I still, you know, this morning, just before I came over here, one of our former students came in to say hello and chat and say, how are you doing? And I wanted to see how she was doing. So as long as that relationship flourishes, I'll be happy to stay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, that looks like all we have for you today. This has been the Florida Tech Oral History Series. It's October 19th, 2018. Thank you, Dr. Maul, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
What a nice way to spend the morning.
Of course.